In the 21st century, we kind of seem to be obsessed with always looking for the next new thing. And if it isn't something new, it just isn't cool enough. But we all know that new isn't always better. So all of this noise looking for the next big thing seems to distract us from what usually are the simple answers that solve the problems we're looking for. However, those tend to be the ones that you can't monetize. So you'll be pleased to know that the secret to a highly productive vegetable garden doesn't cost you anything at all. It relates to my 2022 gardening mission statement, which I revealed in my last video, which is to grow for flavour, not productivity, with the secret to prioritise your taste buds so you can enjoy incredible yields and a lot of fun in the garden. But why does this work so well? When you focus on what you enjoy eating the most, three things suddenly happen. Number one is a spike of motivation. You get this buzz of excitement and you go above and beyond to provide the best opportunity for that crop. Number two, your interest increases, and usually by going above and beyond what you'll usually do, you're going to end up learning more skills, techniques and knowledge that you can also end up applying in other areas of your garden. And number three, your growing space becomes more personal and meaningful, and you find that you and your garden start working together as a solid team. The end result? Well, you're going to get a step closer to an ever more productive and fulfilling garden. Now I need to just quickly jump in and say that homegrown produce is always going to taste better than what you buy from the supermarket, because in a supermarket, produce is paid by weight, not by nutrient density. But to paraphrase Mr. Masanobu Fukuoka, author of the One Straw Revolution, you can't separate nutrient density from flavour. Now the reason why homegrown food tastes so good is because you harvest it when it's meant to be harvested. At peak ripeness and freshness, harvests have their optimum nutrient density. However, if you store these even in the fridge, those nutrient levels start to reduce quite rapidly. This all links to a really powerful story that I read in Chef Dan Barber's book, The Third Plate. So I'm just going to read a couple of things out here that I think every gardener needs to hear. So Dan Barber was speaking to a plant breeder, and the plant breeder said that they don't have a face to breed for. They breed for the 2-sentence description on a seed packet. That's what the whole universe of breeding possibilities gets whittled down to, 2 sentences. And one of them has to be about yield, and the other has to be about uniformity. So then, Chef Dan Barber asked him a challenge. Would it be possible, he asked, to shrink a butternut squash but improve the flavour? Now I'm going to hold off on the answer for just a second, because the rather shocking answer that the plant breeder gave is why this year I'm growing over 100 heritage crops and varieties that I've never grown before on my new quest to find the best flavours that I can get from this garden. Yes, total yields may suffer, but that's a loss that I'm willing to take if it means that I can get tastier and more nutrient-dense food from this ground. So what exactly was the answer that the plant breeder gave Dan Barber? He said, "It's a funny thing, maybe a tragic funny thing, but in all of my years breeding new varieties, after maybe tens of thousands of trials, no one has ever asked me to breed for flavour, not one person." Recent new varieties of crops have been so focused on uniformity, size and shelf life that we've perhaps forgotten the most important element of food. To help me back up the case for flavour, I popped over to SY23, a Michelin star restaurant, to ask the head chef Nathan Davis a question. What's the most important part of your menu?
With us here at the restaurant, we're very focused on ingredients. Ingredients across the board, and different ingredients, that's things that we might not necessarily come across in everyday life. So we've just been experimenting with a grain that we've toasted and turned into a type of tea, which is a Korean thing, and that's just one ingredient that is very local to us. It's a heritage variety of grain, it's an ancient grain. So that's one example of where we're looking at ingredients. But ingredients across the board, it has to be special to go on our menu. We're very lucky that we have a set menu, that we dictate the pace and what it is. So by doing that, it opens up the window of being able to get the best possible small producers, heirloom varieties or heritage varieties of different ingredients that are unique and lend themselves to cooking in a special way.
So which is most important? Is it how a vegetable looks, or is it how it tastes?
In terms of the way it looks, we don't care. We absolutely could. We can make something that tastes delicious, very beautiful to look at, quite straightforward, but fundamentally it's flavour.
As gardeners, we have this incredible opportunity to celebrate taste and to not be restricted to supermarket shelves. However, I do completely understand the benefit of growing healthy amounts of staple crops. To marry your core staples and then exquisite taste together, I'm going to read a really short extract from my upcoming book about the dual variety list method to make sure you tick both boxes. So every gardener should consider having two separate variety lists for reference when making a planting plan or putting in a seed order. The first consists of your staples, a hero variety for each crop that is tasty, easy to grow, consistent and abundant. On the second, specials list, are the more unusual varieties that will add magic to your garden as well as excitement to your cooking. Dedicate a bit of space either at the end of a bed or even in a bucket to grow one or two heritage varieties that seem to really interest you, because at least for me, the excitement and anticipation of trying and eating that new variety is along the same lines as harvesting that first tomato of the season. The reason why heritage vegetables taste so good is because our ancestors selected for flavour and used taste as a measure of success. However, today, success is very much measured by total yields. What you're going to find is that over time, as you do this method, you're going to build your own curated list of really special varieties that add a little bit of magic to your garden, and it's this bit of magic that makes all of the difference. And over time you're going to see for yourself how quietly powerful this method is for getting an ever more productive garden. I think one of the most underrated elements in any discussion about gardening and productivity is actually annual herbs. And in this video, I talk about why I grew 10 times as many herbs last year, and I'm going to continue to do so. And with the new growing season ahead of you, if this doesn't make you grow more herbs, I'm not sure what will.